I want you to close your eyes for a second, just for a moment. Ignore everything else in the room, the laundry pile, the emails, the cat staring at you. Just close your eyes. Now, I want you to imagine a sound, a very specific sound. Ring, 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 ring.
Right.
That sound, that sound used to mean excitement. It used to mean, oh, someone wants to talk to me. Now, for I think a significant portion of the population, that sound is a threat.
It really is. It feels like a threat. You're sitting on your couch, maybe you're scrolling through social media, totally relaxed, sinking into the cushions after a long day. You are in your safe space, and suddenly that sound just cuts through the silence like a knife. You look down at the screen. Maybe it's a number you don't recognize.
Which is its own kind of anxiety.
Or, and I think this is arguably worse, maybe it's a number you do recognize.
Yes. The recruiter you've been waiting to hear from.
Yeah.
The boss calling on a Saturday.
Oh, the boss on a Saturday is the worst one. It's the worst. Or, the relative who always asks why you aren't married yet or why you haven't bought a house. The stakes feel incredibly high.
Exactly. And immediately, your biology changes. It's visceral. Your heart rate spikes. Your palms get a little sweaty. You stare at that green answer button. And for a split second, you just want to throw the phone across the room and run away.
It is a genuine fight or flight response. I mean, we live in an era of text, of asynchronous communication, where we have all this time to edit, delete, rewrite, and curate what we say.
We have a buffer.
We have a huge buffer. We can craft our persona. The telephone takes all of that safety away. It demands an immediate real-time performance. No do-overs.
It's the audio-only panic. That's what I call it.
Yeah.
And if you are learning a language, or even if you're just not feeling socially sharp that day, that panic is multiplied by a factor of 10 because you can't see them.
Oh.
You can't see if they're smiling. You can't see if they're confused. You can't see if they're rolling their eyes. You are flying blind.
That's the crucial part. I think we often really underestimate how much we rely on visuals. When you remove the visual cues, the nod, the raised eyebrow, the smile, you are removing a huge chunk, maybe 70%, of how humans actually understand each other.
70%? That's huge.
It's massive. And you are left with, as our source material for today puts it so perfectly, just your voice and the right words at the right time.
And getting those words right, in the moment, under pressure, that's what we are here to discuss. Today, we're going to fix that panic. We're doing a deep dive into a fascinating piece of curriculum titled Day 25, Mastering Telephone English for Confidence and Clarity.
I love this source.
It's not just a list of vocabulary phrases. It's a survival guide for the invisible conversation.
And it's a very specific type of guide. It features two distinct voices. We have Jais and Isha, who walk the learner through this minefield. What I love about this source is that it treats the telephone not just as a communication tool, but as a psychological hurdle. It actually acknowledges the fear before it teaches the grammar.
Which is so important. So our mission today is simple but high stakes. We are going to extract the cheat sheet for telephonic confidence. We want to get you to a place where when that phone rings, you don't freeze.
You don't have that moment of panic.
Right. You don't panic. You just breathe and speak. Whether it's a high-stakes job interview, a call to your landlord, or just, ordering a pizza.
We have a lot of ground to cover today. We're going to look at the psychology of the invisible smile, which is fascinating. We'll get into the specific grammar of the telephone, which is weirdly different from normal speech, and the cultural nuances of answering calls, especially in a place like India versus, a more global standard.
Okay, let's jump right in with the context. The title of this source is Day 25. Now, normally numbers and titles are they're arbitrary, Chapter 4, Unit 6. But this one feels specific. Why Day 25? What's the significance?
I think in the world of habit formation and language acquisition, hitting Day 25 is a massive milestone. Just think about it. Most people start a new resolution or a new course on January 1st.
Yep. The gym is packed.
The gym is packed. But by January 15th, it's half empty. By Day 25, you are looking at the survivors, the ones who push through the initial discomfort.
The source material actually stops to celebrate this. Jace, who seems to be the primary instructor voice here, he sounds very clear, very friendly in the material. He makes a point of saying this is almost a full month of showing up. He calls it, and I love this quote, more dedication than most people ever give to learning anything new.
That's a profound insight, because if you have reached day 25 of a daily practice routine, you have moved past the novelty phase. You're not just trying something new anymore.
Right, it's not a fad.
It's not a fad. You are now in the discipline phase. You have built a habit.
Yeah.
And the curriculum acknowledges that. It acknowledges that you've built a foundation of skills to get here. It's not starting you from zero.
I looked at the list of things the learner has supposedly mastered by this point to get to day 25. It's impressive, but it's also very grounded in the physical world. Let me read a few of these to set the stage. By day 25, they've mastered vowel sounds. They can tell time. They can use magic verbs fluently.
And magic verbs usually refers to those really high utility verbs like to be, to have, to do, the engines of sentences.
Got it. Okay, so they can do that. They've named every corner of the house. They can describe routines, food, weather, seasons. They can talk about their family and their hobbies. They can tell stories about the past and plan for the future.
Okay, stop there. Do you notice the pattern in that list? Look closely at those topics. What do they all have in common?
Well, it's all stuff you can see
Mm.
or, experience directly. It's tangible.
Exactly. It is concrete. This is a chair. The sky is blue. I eat rice. My mother is tall. If you get stuck in a conversation about these things, you can point.
Right. You have a fallback.
You can mime eating. You can look out the window and gesture at the sun. It is physical, descriptive language. You have props. The world is your prop.
And then suddenly, on day 25, they pull the rug out from under you.
Completely. They take away the physical world. The shift to the telephone is a shift from the concrete to the abstract. You cannot point at the weather on a phone call. You cannot gesture to the chair. You are stripped of all your props.
You're in an empty room.
You're in an empty room with just your voice. And that is why this transition is so critical and why it often causes a regression in confidence. You're taking the training wheels off the bike and immediately merging onto a highway.
That's a terrifying image.
Yeah.
But it really explains why the anxiety exists. The source sets the goal explicitly right at the top. Today, we make sure you never freeze when the phone rings. It frames this lesson as crisis management as much as it is language learning.
So how do we stop the freezing? That's the big question. And the guide starts with something that sounds almost, almost too simple to work. It doesn't start with grammar rules or vocabulary lists. It starts with the body.
Right. Jay says, take a breath, smile. And then he adds this little parenthetical that I think is the most important part of the entire intro. He writes, yes, even on the phone, people can hear it.
I'm so glad you flagged that, because that is not just a poetic sentiment. It's not just a nice idea. It is a biological fact. It's often called the audible smile.
Okay, wait, let's break that down. How can someone hear a facial expression? That sounds like something out of science fiction. If I'm miles away, how do I know you're smiling?
It comes down to acoustics and anatomy. It's really cool. When you smile, a real smile, a Duchenne smile, your zygomatic major muscles contract. They pull the corners of your lips back and up.
Okay, I'm doing it now. I can feel it.
Right. And that action physically changes the shape of your mouth. It shortens your vocal tract slightly, and it widens the opening. This, in turn, changes the resonance of the sound waves coming out of your throat. It actually brightens the tone of your voice. It raises the pitch slightly.
No way. So when Jace says people can hear it, he means the sound waves are physically different. He's being literal.
He is being 100% literal. A voice with a smile sounds warmer, more open, higher in frequency, and strangely more trustworthy.
Trustworthy.
That's interesting. Think about it. In a medium where you have no visual trust indicators, you can't see if I'm dressed professionally, you can't see if I have a kind face, that vocal quality becomes your entire first impression.
It's your avatar. Your voice is your avatar.
Precisely. If you answer the phone hunching over, frowning, with your chest tight, your voice will sound compressed, low energy, and anxious. But if you sit up, take that breath, and physically smile, you project confidence even if you don't feel it inside. It's a fake it till you make it hack that actually works on a physiological level.
And considering the stakes they list, you need every single hack you can get. The source lists some pretty high-pressure scenarios where you'd be using this telephone English. Job interviews, for one.
The ultimate high-stakes call.
Calling customer care.
Customer care is a nightmare even for native speakers. You're navigating phone trees, you're listening to terrible hold music, you're often dealing with a lot of frustration before you even speak to a human.
Right, and then talking to college staff or office administrators, people who hold power over your grades or your paperwork. But they also mention a scenario that I think is really interesting because it's not professional per se. Calling a friend when you're running late.
That's the low-stakes, high-pressure scenario.
Right.
It's interesting because it highlights that anxiety isn't just about corporate hierarchy or getting something you want. It's about social friction.
What do you mean by social friction?
Nobody wants to be the bearer of bad news. I'm late. I can't make it. I forgot. Doing that in a second language where you're worried about your grammar and the social fallout is incredibly daunting. You worry you'll sound rude or careless or disrespectful of their time.
So the smile helps there, too. It makes "sorry I'm late" sound genuinely apologetic instead of dismissive.
Exactly. It changes "sorry I'm late" into "oh my gosh, I'm so sorry I'm running late." The tone does all the work.
Okay, so you've taken the breath. You've forced yourself to smile to change your vocal tract. You press the green button. Now we get to the actual mechanics. Section 1 of the source is answering the phone, the very first words out of your mouth.
This is where we see the specific Jay's method come into play. He provides a hierarchy of responses, from basic to more advanced.
He starts with the absolute classic, "Hello, this is Aman speaking." Now, let's pause here. To a native speaker, that sounds totally standard. But for a learner, isn't that a weird construction? This is, why not "I am"?
It is very, very counterintuitive. In person, if I met you at a coffee shop, I would never say, "Hello, this is my name." I'd say, "Hi, I am," or just "I'm." If I walked up to you and said, "Hello, this is that," you'd think I was introducing a third person or an object.
Right, this is a pen, this is a table, this is Aman. It sounds objectifying. It sounds weird.
It sounds totally weird in person. But on the phone, this "is" has a specific function. It implies the voice you are hearing is. It creates a slight professional distance, acknowledging the medium of the device. It acknowledges that you are a disembodied voice. Using "I am" on the phone can sound oddly personal or just grammatically off to a native ear. It marks you as a novice immediately.
So the name is the telephonic standard, the first rule of the club.
Yeah.
Jace also offers the shorter version, name speaking, just Aman speaking.
That's more efficient, more professional, perhaps, a little more corporate. It cuts straight to the data. It's very common in fast-paced offices where you're just trying to get through calls.
The source also gives us what it calls the location identifier, which I think is a real power move. "Good morning, this is Aman from Shimla," or "this is Aman from the accounts department."
I love the location identifier. It provides context immediately. Think about how many times you pick up the phone and spend the first 10 seconds just figuring out which Aman you are talking to. Is it Aman from the gym? Aman from work? Aman from that scam call center?
Right. It's mental gymnastics.
It is. And by adding from Shimla or from marketing, you are anchoring the conversation. You are saving the other person mental energy. And that makes you seem organized and competent.
Context is kindness.
Absolutely. The more information you give up front, the less work the other person has to do. And that puts them at ease because they know exactly who they are dealing with and why you might be calling.
Now, what about when you pick up the phone and you don't know who is on the other end? The guide calls this the gatekeeper moment.
This is a crucial defensive maneuver. You need to verify the caller before you commit to the conversation or before you pass them on to someone else. The phrase provided is, "May I know who's calling?" or "Hello, who's calling, please?"
It's polite, but it's firm. You aren't saying, "Who is this?" which can sound really aggressive.
Oh, who is this? Sounds like you're accusing them of trespassing. It sounds suspicious. It puts the other person on the defensive immediately. But "may I know who's calling" is a request for information. It puts a velvet glove on the iron gate. You aren't letting them in until they identify themselves, but you're asking nicely.
This brings us to a really cool part of the source material. We have a second voice, Asia. So far, we've mostly heard from Jays, the instructor. But Isha brings in the cultural nuance. She talks specifically about the Indian variations.
And this is vital for any comprehensive language guide that operates in a specific region. English isn't just one thing. There's US English, UK English, Australian English, and of course, Indian English. Each has its own valid norms. You have to teach the textbook global way, but you also have to acknowledge the real world local way.
Isha mentions phrases like "Hello Ji" or "Hanji Boliye."
Let's translate those for anyone not familiar. Ji is an honorific suffix in Hindi and many other Indian languages. It denotes respect. It's like adding sir or ma'am, but it's warmer. It turns a simple hello into "hello, I respect you." So hello Ji is a very warm, respectful hello.
And "Hanji Boliye."
That translates roughly to "yes, so madam, please speak," or "yes, please tell me." It's an invitation to talk.
It sounds very welcoming, very hospitable.
It is. It's very culturally appropriate in a social context or a local business context. If you call your local grocer in Delhi or your neighbor, "Hanji Boliye" is perfect. It builds a bond. But Isha makes a critical analysis here. She says these are polite, but for formal contexts, for professional contexts, one must stick to, hello, this is Aman.
Why is that distinction so important? Why can't we just use the warm local version everywhere? It feels friendlier.
It's about the global nature of business and communication. If you are applying for a job at a multinational corporation or you're speaking to a client in New York or London, those local markers like G or Bollier can create confusion. Or worse, they might mock the speaker as being local rather than global. It might unintentionally signal that you aren't comfortable with international business standards.
So it's about code switching, knowing your audience and changing your language to match.
Exactly. Code switching is a hallmark of advanced fluency. It's knowing that you can say what's up to your friend, hello, Ja, to your aunt, and this is M speaking to your boss. The source is teaching the learner to categorize their audience instantly and deploy the right protocol.
So stick to the script for the job interview, but feel free to hello, Jay, your neighbors.
Precisely. Don't lose your culture, but know when to deploy your professional persona. It's about having more tools in your toolbox.
Okay, let's move to part 4 of our outline, navigating the request. So you've answered, or maybe you're the one making the call. You need to talk to someone specific. The source gives us a few ways to ask, can I speak to Rohit, please? Versus, may I speak to the manager, please?
And here we go. We see the classic English grammar battle, can versus may.
Oh man, my third grade teacher is screaming in my head right now. I ask, can I go to the bathroom? And she says, I don't know, can you?
We all have trauma from that teacher. And look, technically, historically, can asks about ability. Do you have the physical capacity to speak? And may asks for permission. But in modern English, especially spoken English, that line has blurred significantly.
So can I speak to Rohit actually wrong? Am I going to get rejected by the grammar police?
No, not at all. In 99% of scenarios, can I is perfectly acceptable. It's the standard for peers, friends, casual business, calling a store, it's what most people say. But Jay's suggests, may I speak to, for that formal, polite tier.
It's a softener. It's a way of showing extra respect.
It is. May signals deference. If you are calling superior or a stranger you don't know or you're asking for a big favor, may is the safer bet. It shows you're being extra careful with your manners. It just elevates the register of the conversation a little bit.
There's also another phrase in here that feels very specific to the large office environment. Could you connect me to?
Could you connect me to the HR department? I love that one. That is a power user phrase.
Why a power user phrase?
Because it implies you understand the infrastructure. You aren't just asking to talk. You are asking to be routed through a system. It shows professional competence. You know there is a switchboard. You know there is a system with departments, and you are navigating it. It suggests you belong in that environment.
But what happens when the person isn't there? This is where the anxiety usually spikes for me. You summon up all the courage to ask, may I speak to Priya? And then rejection. The script in your head just ended.
The blockage. It disrupts the flow. You prepared for yes one moment, but you got no, and now you're improvising.
The source provides the scripts to handle this smoothly so you don't panic and hang up. Things like, he's not here right now, she's in a meeting, he's out of office.
These are standard availability checks. They are factual, neutral reasons for the blockage. They're not personal rejections.
And then there's the classic deflection. She's on another call.
Ah, yes, the on another call defense. It's the polite way of saying, she is busy and cannot deal with you right now, and it could be true, or it could be a gatekeeping tactic. But learning these phrases is crucial for the person answering the phone, too. If you are the receiver, you need to be able to deliver this bad news without sounding rude. You can't just say no.
Can I speak to Priya? No. Click.
Right, that's so aggressive. It basically ends the relationship. You have to cushion the blow. I'm afraid she is on another call right now. I'm sorry she's in a meeting at the moment. The I'm afraid or I'm sorry isn't a real apology. You didn't do anything wrong. It's a linguistic shock absorber.
A shock absorber. I like that.
It just signals that you wish you could help as circumstances prevent it. It shows empathy.
Okay, so the person isn't there. The connection has failed. Now we enter the next phase, the mechanics of messages. This is part 5 of our deep dive. This section feels like a data transfer protocol. Input-output.
It is exactly that, and this is where mistakes happen most often. You can have a great accent, perfect grammar, and a wonderful audible smile, but if you get the phone number wrong in the message, the entire call was a complete waste of time. Accuracy is absolutely non-negotiable here.
Let's look at it from the caller's perspective first. You want to leave a message. The guide suggests being proactive. Don't wait to be asked. Say something like, Could you please take a message?
Notice the phrasing again. It's so polite. You aren't demanding they take a message. You are asking if they could. It invites cooperation. Could you please take a message makes the other person feel like they're helping you, not serving you. It engages their natural helpfulness.
And then the instruction is very specific and very simple. Please tell them I'm uncalled.
Simple. Name and action. Don't overcomplicate it with a long story about why you called unless it's absolutely necessary. Just the core data.
And then the most important data point. My number is 98100-12345.
Giving the number is crucial. Never, ever, ever assume the other person has caller ID or has it saved. Even if you think they have it, say it. It's professional courtesy. And usually you want to say it slowly. Group the numbers. Don't rush. 98100. Pause. 12345. Give them time to write it down.
And notice the call to action the source includes. Could you ask her to call me back when she's free?
That's a key component. A lot of people miss this. Don't just leave information, leave an instruction. If you just say, I'm on call, the receiver might think, okay, cool, I'm on call, noted. You need to close the loop. Please ask her to call me back. Now there's a clear next step. It creates a task for the other person and increases the chance of a return call.
Now let's flip it. You are the receiver. Someone says, tell them I called. What do? The source gives us these verification steps.
The first one is, may I have your name, please? And the second question, could you spell that, is the ultimate safety net for a language learner, and frankly, for anyone.
I use that all the time, and I'm a native speaker, especially with names that could be spelled multiple ways. Is that Smith with an I or a Y? Is that Box with an X or CKS?
Exactly. It buys you time. It slows the conversation down so you can write, and more importantly, it shows the caller that you care about accuracy. If you ask me to spell my name, I trust that you are actually writing it down correctly. It makes me feel valued and respected.
It's a signal of competence. It shows you're taking this seriously.
It absolutely is. And then comes the confirmation, I'll let her know you called, or I'll make sure he gets the message. This is a verbal contract. It's a promise. You are promising to deliver the data. It reassures the caller that their message isn't just going to disappear into a black hole.
Speaking of black holes, let's talk about part 6, crisis management. What happens when things go really wrong? Because they will. The tech will fail or the human will fail.
The error scenarios. This is where language learners often panic the most and just hang up because they feel foolish. They feel like they failed the test and they just want to escape.
The source lists wrong numbers first. The phrase is, sorry, I think you have the wrong number.
Simple, polite, definitive. There's no need to apologize profusely. You didn't do anything wrong. But that simple sorry acts as a social lubricant to end the interaction without any friction. It's a soft exit.
But what about the technology itself? The source mentions bad connections. This is so real, especially if you're calling internationally or you're driving through a tunnel. Phrases like, the line is breaking, or can you speak louder, please?
These are essential phrases. You have to advocate for your own hearing. You can't just sit there and nod and pretend to understand when you've only caught every third word. That's a recipe for disaster.
And the ultimate bailout phrase, which I absolutely love, I'll call you back, the network is bad.
This is a fantastic, fantastic phrase because it shifts the blame. Notice, you are not saying, I can't understand your accent. You are not saying, my English vocabulary is failing me right now. You are saying, the network is bad.
It's the perfect scapegoat. It's not you, it's not me, it's the network.
It is. It saves face for everyone involved. The caller doesn't feel like they're being unclear and you don't feel incompetent. It allows you to hang up, take a breath, maybe look up a word you didn't understand, or find a quieter spot and then call back on your terms. It completely resets the power dynamic.
That is such a good point. Blame the signal, not the skill.
Always blame the signal. It's your best friend in a difficult call.
And then finally, the exit strategy.
Yeah.
How do we get off the phone? I feel like I've spent 20 minutes on some calls just trying to say goodbye. Okay, bye. Yep, you too.
Yeah.
Okay, bye then. Talk soon. Yep.
The goodbye loop. It's so painful. It happens because neither person wants to be the one to cut the connection, so you just keep agreeing with each other until someone finally gives up and hangs up.
The source provides standard closings to cut that cord cleanly. Thank you for calling. Have a nice day. Take care.
And the future promise. I'll talk to you later.
These are signal phrases, aren't they? They tell the other person the transaction is complete. We could disengage now without being rude.
Exactly. You need a terminator phrase. Have a nice day is a terminator. It signals the end. If you don't use a clear closing phrase, the silence just hangs there awkwardly. You need to provide the period at the end of the sentence.
I want to move to part 7 because this is where the source material does something really helpful and really smart. Up until now, we've been talking about isolated phrases, like ingredients. But language happens in flow, in a full recipe. So the source gives us a script, a full case study, the Aman and Rohit simulation.
Simulation is the best form of practice. It's like a flight simulator for conversations. Let's walk through this play-by-play. It's a dialogue between you, acting as Aman, a caller, Rohit, regarding a target, Priya. This little script covers almost every single mechanic we've just discussed.
Okay, let's role play this a bit. I'll be Aman, the person answering the phone. You be Rohit, the caller.
I'm ready. I'm dialing. Ring, ring.
Step 1, Aman answers.
Hello, this is Aman speaking.
Perfect start. Clean. You identified yourself immediately. No hello. Confusion. There's no guesswork for me, the caller. Okay, step 2. You, as Rohit, ask for the target.
Hello, can I speak to Priya, please?
Direct request. Polite. Now, step 3. I have to screen the call because I don't know who you are. May I know who's calling, please?
The gatekeeper move. And it's essential because you don't know if Priya wants to talk to me. Maybe I'm a telemarketer. Maybe I'm an annoying ex-boyfriend. You are protecting her time, which is your job in that moment.
Okay. Step 4. You identify yourself. This is Rohit from college, and I put you on hold. One moment, please. I'll check if she's available.
Okay, let's pause on your phrasing there. I'll check if she's available. That's even better than the script's I'll check. It manages the expectation. You didn't say, she is here, hold on. You didn't promise availability.
Right, because if I promise and she's not there, I look bad.
Precisely. If you said, hold on, getting her, and then came back to say she's busy, the caller feels let down. I'll check keeps the outcome neutral. It's a small detail, but it manages disappointment perfectly.
Okay, step 5. The realization. Priya's in class. So I'll come back to the line. Sorry, Priya's in a class right now. Can I take a message?
This is textbook perfection. Let's look at the 3 parts of that sentence. First, the explanation. In a class, you give a reason. Second, the softener. Sorry, you're showing empathy. And third, and most importantly, the solution. Can I take a message?
He doesn't just say, she's not here,
Yeah.
and then wait for you to come up with a plan. That would be so awkward.
Right. That creates dead air. By offering to take a message, he drives the conversation forward. He is taking ownership of the interaction and offering a path to success.
Okay. Step 6. Rohit gives the message.
Yeah.
Yes, please. Tell her Rohit called. My number is 98765-43210. And then step 7. Mon confirms. Sure, I'll let her know you called. Have a nice day.
And the call ends. Clean, efficient, polite, professional. If you analyze that script, it's a choreography. There is no wasted motion. Every line has a purpose. For a learner, memorizing that flow is incredibly powerful because it works for almost any scenario.
That's the beauty of it, isn't it? It's a template. You can just swap out the names, replace Priya with the manager and class with meeting, and it's the exact same script.
Exactly. You don't have to invent language on the fly under pressure. You just fill in the blanks. And that reduces the cognitive load. When you aren't worrying about how to construct the sentence, you can focus on the important part, like listening to the information. You can focus on getting the number right.
So we've got the template, we understand the psychology. Now, how do we make it stick? Because reading a script is one thing. Doing it when your phone is vibrating in your hand and your heart is pounding is a whole other thing.
That brings us to part 8, the action plan. This is the how-to. The source calls it the golden cheat sheet.
Aisha recaps the must-save phrases.
Yeah.
It's a consolidation of everything we've discussed. But the real value here is the homework assignments. I love that an audio lesson has homework. It feels like we're back in school, but, in a good way.
It's absolutely necessary. Passive listening doesn't build active skills. You can listen to us talk about swimming all day, but until you get in the water, you can't swim. You have to get wet. You have to do the work.
Okay, assignment 1, write 3 full conversations. Answering a call, making a call, and leaving a message.
This forces you to visualize the structure before you have to perform it. Writing allows you to slow down time. You can perfect the grammar on the page before you ever try to say it out loud. It builds the neural pathways for the conversation flow.
Assignment 2, record yourself, 90 to 120 seconds, pretending to manage a call.
This is the cringe factor test. It's the one everyone wants to skip.
Oh, the horror. Nobody likes hearing the sound of their own voice.
Nobody does. It sounds thinner, higher, just stranger than it does in your head. But if you record it and listen back, you get objective feedback. You will hear your hesitation. You will hear where you mumbled the number. You will hear where you forgot to smile and your voice sounded flat.
And you can hear if you sound like a robot reading a script or an actual person.
Exactly. You can practice adding that warmth, that intonation. Hello, this is Aman versus hello, this is Aman. The recording doesn't lie. It's an honest mirror.
Assignment 3 is the scary one. The real-world challenge. Make or receive one real call using at least 3 phrases from the lesson.
This is the graduation. This is where the rubber meets the road. You have to take the theory into the field. And the source is smart about this. It suggests starting small. Call a family member. Call a friend. Low stakes.
Even if it's just calling your brother and saying, hello, this is your name speaking, instead of your usual, hey, what's up?
It sounds funny, sure. Your brother might laugh. He might ask why you're being so formal all of a sudden. But consciously using the phrase, may I speak to, or this is name speaking, rewires your brain. You are normalizing the feeling of those words in your mouth. You are desensitizing yourself to the formality.
So when you have to do it with the CEO, it doesn't feel like the first time you've ever said those words.
Exactly. You don't want your first rep to be in the championship game. You do your reps in practice, in the gym, with friends and family.
And finally, assignment 4, social accountability. Share one full sentence in the comments section of the lesson.
This is a great psychological trick. Public commitment. It creates a community of practice. Knowing that hundreds of other people are doing the exact same scary thing helps reduce the isolation and the fear.
The source also provides a soliloquy for practice, a little drill. Hello, this is Aman speaking. Can I speak to Neha? My number is 98100-56789. It's like a warm-up drill for an athlete before a game.
It is. You repeat it until the muscle memory takes over. The goal of all of this, the writing, the recording, the drills, is to move these phrases from your conscious brain, where you have to think about them, to your subconscious brain, where you just say them without thinking.
So when the phone actually rings and the adrenaline hits, you aren't thinking about grammar. You are just reacting with the correct phrase automatically.
That is fluency. That's what fluency really is. It isn't knowing all the words in the dictionary. It's not having to think about the words you know when you need them most.
We are coming to the end of our deep dive into day 25. The source material teases what comes next day 26.
The mid-journey review and mega quiz.
Sounds intense. A mega quiz.
It is. But it's important. It validates the effort. It reminds the learner that day 25 isn't the end. It's the midpoint of a larger transformation. It connects the telephone skills back to the rest of the language ecosystem they've been building.
I want to end on the final wisdom that Jace and Isha share in the source. They say something really beautiful and I think really true. Telephone English builds real-world courage.
That is the core truth here. That's what this is all about. We think we're learning how to leave a message. We think we're learning how to deal with the wrong number. But really, we are learning how to assert ourselves in a difficult situation.
It's about taking up space. We're taking up time in this case on the phone.
Yes. We are learning how to navigate an interaction where we are disadvantaged. We're blind, often speaking a second language, under time pressure, and still come out the other side with our dignity and our objective intact. That's a superpower.
The goal, they say, is to be more professional, more polite, more powerful every day.
More powerful. That's the key word for me. Language is power. Clarity is power. When you can speak clearly and confidently on the phone, you command respect. You control the narrative of the conversation.
So here is our final thought for you to mull over. The next time your phone rings and you feel that little spike of adrenaline, that fight or flight response kicking in, don't look at it as a threat.
Don't let the anxiety win. Reframe it.
Look at it as a repetition in the gym of communication. It's just another chance to practice the script. It's a low-stakes quiz.
And don't forget the physical hack we started with. Before you swipe green, take that one deep breath, sit up straight, and put a smile on your face.
Even if you're in your pajamas and you haven't brushed your hair.
Especially if you're in your pajamas.
Because they can hear it.
They absolutely can.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the art of the audio-only connection. We'll see you next time.
Goodbye.
This is Host, signing off.
This is Expert disconnecting.
Perfect. That was a great call.